Welcome. On this week's episode of Chasing Wildlife TV, I'm going to take you on my quest for a buck I called the Wide Nine here in my home state of Michigan. Now early on in October, I was getting quite a few pictures of this buck shortly after dark. I continued to monitor my trail cameras and wait for that timing to be right. Later in October, I noticed a little bit of chasing going on in my trail cameras, so around October 27th, I decided to grab my Bear Resurgence bow and head to the stand. As I'm watching two small bucks feed my food plots at the back of my property, I glanced down at my phone and it says 5:21 p.m. It was early. Just then a doe came running right past my blind with her tail tucked and the big 9 was right behind her. This buck ended up chasing the doe off and he popped out into my food plot at about 100 yards. He went over and hit the community scrape and slowly began feeding towards me. He got all the way to about 20 yards and I just needed him to turn. Eventually when he turned, he began walking away and I panicked that he was going to walk away out of my life for good. So I quickly drew and I tried to stop him.
All right.
Out of there before my arrow got there. It was 31 yards. Dang it. What can I say? I completely rushed the shot. I alerted the deer and airballed. Now this deer was gone for good. There's no way he was coming back. Fast forward to November 16th, Michigan gun season. Normally the past 3 to 4 years, I grab my bow, leave my gun home, and I continue to bow hunt through gun season. But this year, I wanted to change things up. I wanted to grab my gun. I wanted to go to my personal piece of property that I own and harvest my first Michigan buck off this property. It's been about 6 years since I've owned it. I let a lot of bucks walk, but it was time to bury the hatchet, so to speak. So fortunate for me, November 16th, the morning of, I harvested a beautiful Michigan 9-point. The intent was to hunt all day, But after harvesting this buck this early that morning, you know, my thoughts were kind of to stay out of there. But it was such a beautiful day, I decided to go back and sit for the evening. Well, we're getting ready to head back out to the scene of the crime. Going for an evening set, see if I can make it a twofer. Just got all cleaned up. I caped the deer out and hung it in the garage overnight here, and hopefully I can get at it tomorrow and get it all cut up and processed and vacuum packed. So, but got some hot chicken noodle soup in the blind waiting for me. I planned on sitting all day, but that was stopped short at about 7:20 this morning. So I'm excited. That's a nice buck. First buck off my property. You know, it's not the biggest for a shoulder mount, but I'm excited. I'm excited that I got my first deer and looking forward to many more. Stay tuned and we're gonna jump in the blind. So I hopped into the blind, ate some lunch, took a nice peaceful nap, and enjoyed God's creations while reminiscing about my early morning success. I had a few bucks and few does feed through my food plots, and they're acting really finicky because of all the scent that I left behind. Knowing that I probably should have stayed out of there in the first place, it started getting later in the evening and the deer were still finicky, so I opted to start packing up and sneak out of there and just kind of let things cool down. As I'm packing up, I peeked out of my window to my right, and there he was, 15 yards broadside, walking into my food plot. He popped out at about 20 yards feeding, and I began scrambling to get the camera on him and grab my gun. As this buck is feeding in the food plot in front of me, he quickly turns and begins walking directly away towards some does feeding 100 yards out down my food plot. The feeling of him once again walking out of my life began, so I started whistling at him to try to get him to stop and turn. Finally, after the fourth attempt, he heard me. Yes! 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 He's down! Yes! 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 Oh, I'm pretty sure that was a buck I missed. Oh. Yes! Why don't you guys put your boots and stuff on and meet me down at the blind? Well, got the whole family out here, don't we? Come here, buddy. You want to go see a big buck? Daddy shot this biggest buck ever, I think. Oh, let's go, girls. You lead the way here, Daddy. I'll hold the flashlight. Okay, come on. What do you think, Bubba?
Good.
You good? You like it? Is that a big buck?
Lucky.
He's a big buck. Can you say big buck? Big buck. This is a stud.
So heavy.
Oh, he's beautiful. Full moon.
Full moon. We got some work to do. I got one skinned in the garage and I got this one, so we got some work to do. I probably put about 125 yard shot on him with my gun.
Wow. I'm glad he didn't run away, Dad.
I know.
I'm all right.
This was great, huh?
It's awesome, babe.
Well, let's get them tagged up.
And then pull them.
and get them out of here.